Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another Fuel Esports broadcast. I'm Newt. I'm joined by Dragon, and we got some League of Legends action coming for you. Fuel Esports versus UBC. It's CEN. Winner of this goes to playoffs. We'll see what each team is going to bring to the battle. How you feeling, Dragon?
I'm feeling really good. It's kind of unique being in the Canadian Esports Nationals. It's similar to not so similar to like NECC or the other leagues that we usually stream. So I'm excited to kind of see how Fuel goes into this, as well as what UBC is going to bring to the table, because we know how League of Legends plays. It can be very, very one way or another, depending on champion compositions and exactly how the communications, the strategies go. So I wonder what UBC is going to bring to the table tonight.
I'm interested to see how both teams are going to adapt to the meta shifts that just came in. But before that, let's take a look at our bracket to see how each team is getting here. UBC took a 2-0 victory versus University of Victoria, now versus Fuel, who got a bye and it looks like University of Victoria has forfeited out. So I think no matter their match, the outcome of this game, both teams are going to make playoffs. So there's not as much stakes, but we'll see the roster to still, Fuel. They obviously want to bring home a victory. HDK support, Zan ADC, Boom mid, Horus jungle, Top Guru top. We seeing normal faces, the smiling faces. They're happy. They're locked in. They had some team meetings with some new coaches. They picked up a couple players here and there. As far as coaches are concerned, they had some good team meetings. They had some good ideas. But the meta shifts are definitely going to be a tall task.
So when it comes to the meta shifts, what exactly does that kind of entail? What are kind of like the biggest things that come with these shifts?
Jungle. So Riot decided that every top laner can jungle. So
Okay.
Ornn jungle got buffed. Ambessa jungle got buffed. Riven jungle got buffed. Aatrox jungle got buffed. Malphite jungle got buffed. You see some of these other tanks coming back in the meta, like Skarner got a good buff. Jax is very strong right now. You're not going to be seeing, those traditional junglers you're seeing as much as possible. Like Cho'Gath jungle got buffed as well, which is something that's very good for our team. As Horus is it's quite a well-known Cho'Gath player, so we'll see if he ends up being able to pilot that or not in this game, or if it's going to be banned away. But yeah, the jungle changes are fairly big, as well as there's some other changes here and there. The mid meta is a little different. AD carry meta is a little bit more aggressive now, less utility focused. We'll see how each team's going to end up adapting. Fuel have not played since they got eliminated from NECC and ECAC, so they're hungry. It's their final chance to prove themselves. In this season, in this semester. So I think they're ready to do this.
And with everything on the table, they're going to need to bring everything to it. And if they can manage to actually benefit and capitalize on those meta shifts, we should see quite a heavy game and Fuel taking a win tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, UBC is a team that Fuel has some history against, right? They last year, I believe they lost 2-1 versus UBC. In I want to say NECC. This year, they did not end up playing as they UBC forfeited out of NECC. They were in the same division as us, so we'll be seeing if Fuel can get that run back from last year. If UBC has changed their game at all. Before that, we're gonna have to take a short break to wait for draft.
My God, that's tiny. And we are back with the first set of drafts already. We got bans, 2 for Fanshawe, 2 for UBC. That is very tiny for me.
Yeah, it's definitely not the largest of character images here, but we'll make do as Fuel gonna ban away Riven, Zed, and Pantheon. Seem to be targeting the jungler of UBC. First pick, Cho'Gath. We were talking about this, right?
Yep.
This is Horus's main champion. If Fuel has a chance to get a game consistently, it's gonna be if Horus is on Cho'Gath. It's they've had some struggles for sure with this roster due to jungle pool. So we'll see if Horus can make that happen. He's on his patented pick now. UBC, they're banning a bit more, unorthodox picks, right? Again, that Fiora ban's always going to be head towards your support player for Fuel. And then Singed and GP ban, can be banning away Top Guru, thinking maybe a weak point. Now, Sylas pick here for UBC deters a lot of things. It's also really good into the Cho'Gath, as he can kind of, he can fight basic into Cho'Gath, but also Cho'Gath ult on Sylas, very strong. See what UBC decides to respond. I'm expecting either an 80 carry here, or I don't really think, because I think this Sylas is going to be flexed mid jungle, so I think you're just going to pick your ADC here. Whole pool's open. It's complete free game. So it's really based off comfort, based off what they want to play. We'll see what UBC decides to do.
I think what UBC and Fanshawe should really go into, if they're going with the Jinx.
Very. I think Jinx is really strong for sure. I think Jinx has to get those resets, but she really can take over these team fights instantly. As definitely we'll see how UBC ends up piloting that as the Jinx locked in. Fuel now going to respond to likely, which is a full bot lane pick. Tristana, very good into the Jinx. You're going to be able to play aggressive, stop the Jinx from getting ahead early, especially if Zen can pilot this well. Now we'll see if they end up taking support or if they're just going to, take a blind mid, take a blind top laner, look for some bans. We'll see what Fuel decides to do. It's still wide open. Again, the draft is very, very wide open because it's just jungle and top bans.
And so far, we see a bit of some decent combat capabilities, especially with that Cho'Gath and Tristana. Jinx with that range capability, especially with that universal swapping from a heavy machine gun into a more heavy-hitting rocket launcher, and then her ultimate powwow that can just send a rocket no matter where down lane. If that hits, it's going to become a problem, especially when it's leveled up. Going into the
Cassante going to be picked. So yeah, the blind pick top lane. Fuel likes to play weak side top lane a lot. They're definitely more of a bot side team. Top Guru's pool, it doesn't really blend well to being a carry player. He likes to play the game where he neutralizes his opponent. He sits there in lane, and then eventually, he will eventually, he'll win the battle of attrition, right? That's his plan. So Cassante, a very safe blind pick. It also means that you don't give Sylas another good ult. Your other safe blind picks here, could have been maybe an Ornn, but then you give Sylas Ornn ult, and that's a little scary, right? So you got to be careful once this Sylas is locked in. Garen's going to be the response, so a very, very potent pick there for UBC's top laner. Now, if that does not get ahead of the Cassante, he will fall behind almost instantaneously due to just the fact that Cassante outscales. As we head into our second ban phase, I'm expecting support bans, and I'm expecting maybe a mid ban here or there. Victor could get banned away, as that's kind of a true thing. This Trist could be a flex, actually. Caitlyn does play Trist a lot, so both teams are flexing here. Caitlyn banned, so it seems like UBC thinks this is going mid.
But then with that, Fanshawe Fuel has an opportunity to really respond with a good ban of their own. Like, they can ban an ADC, they could probably ban a support.
They're definitely going to look support for sure, I think. You could ban some mids, but you got to be careful as that Sylas can always go jungle, right? So support's going to be the easiest role to ban. Alistar ban's good because you kind of have that little bit of an engage comp. Kai'Sa ban. So UBC, they don't think this Tristana is going ADC at all. And that might be due to the fact that Dan doesn't have much games on it in solo queue, but he's pretty well practiced on it. He has played it outside of that, so we'll see if maybe that pulled UBC for a loop. The champ pool wasn't lining up, as Tristana a very strong AD carry right now, and now this opens up, basically Boo to get a free counter pick. Rakan banned away, another support, another strong support. Helps that lane a little bit with the Jinx. I'm expecting either Leona, Nautilus here. That's where I'm looking for UBC, and then they save that last pick to flex the Sylas and mid jungle, but I think it's most likely going to go jungle this game.
Most likely, the Leona and Nautilus are really good picks. If you build them well, they can become a problem both at the start of the game. They can be supportable, but once they get built up to get into those team fights, they're absolutely solid. And once again, the master of predictions here, making sure we know exactly who's getting picked. Nautilus for the side of UBC.
Yeah, Nautilus going to be locked in. I mean, it's safe engage, right? You always can have that go button. It's good to get those Jinx resets. UBC's comp has to dive in. They have to play for resets. Silas has to find a good ult. But Fuel right now has a pretty good protect comp going. They can kind of keep this up. Tristana doesn't have to dive in. She can play with her Buster Shot. She can play range. And she can, ult away the targets who are going in. I think Fuel, you need to keep that control up. A Victor or an Azir is definitely your main mid laner you're looking at. Braum is a good support. It's not a big comfort, though, for HDK. We'll see how well he's going to pilot it. But it's very good into the Nautilus. It's good into the rest of UBC as they have a lot of melees. Mid lane, last year, I think this Trist is pretty much guaranteed to be going into the bot lane unless, you see an Ashe pick here for Fuel. That's the only pick I see Zen, overriding the Tristana pick for. Could also be his Ezreal. He does play it a lot. I think Ezreal's just a little bit worse in this type of game when there's so much heavy hitters, so much tanks in front of you. You have to tear through health bars. Victor picked.
All right. Well, we've seen how well Victor how deadly Victor can be, especially if they're built correctly and used by the right player. And we've seen that danger firsthand in previous games.
This is Boo's probably best character right now in the current meta. Just very, very stable on Victor. Will always have some sort of a lead and will always have some value in these later team fights. Syndra going to be picked instead. No, looks like to be Yone.
Wait.
Syndra just feels better here. I mean, both are rough though because you're fighting double. Now you've double AP solo lane or mid jungle. So there's a little bit of some problem here as Syndra was in fact locked in, which means now MR is very strong. I mean, if Victor just itemizes an early Merc Treads, he pretty much can circumvent any play on himself in that mid lane as Silas and Syndra to be doing the same type of damage. Syndra, though, has that stun, has that, utility, as well as that big burst damage to tear through the health bars of Fuel. But they have a lot of bulk. You have a Cassante, a Braum, and a Cho'Gath in the front line with a Trist Victor backline. It's hard to get through it for UBC's comp. Jinx has to completely take over this game. If she falls behind, UBC is going to be in serious trouble.
It seems with this composition, like UBC has something more of like a fast-paced lockdown and attack type of coordination with the champions they picked. While Fuel, on the other hand, as you said, like they have 3 heavy hitters plus 2 dangerous people in the back line that can instantly come to support the front line if needed. So if UBC wants to actually start winning these fights, they need to kite a lot.
If Fuel just front to backs and they play to protect those dives, right? If Silas can't get an angle onto your Tristana or your Victor, right? If Syndra doesn't find those stuns in the scatter of the week, if Nautilus isn't finding these hooks, they just don't really have an answer to get through Cassante, Cho'Gath, and Braum, especially if Fuel just plays it well, as long as they don't fall behind in lanes. That's the key point, right? Because if UBC, their comp can really start to snowball. Silas becomes a really big problem once he starts to get those levels, those kills going on. Jinx as well can completely take over the game. Once she gets those 1 kills, she can start to tear through your health. You just need that 1 reset, and one of the members of Fuel, if Jinx is ahead, is definitely going to be squishy enough for that. So it's just a game to make sure you don't fall behind, because if you get to a point where your team is just able to front to back, you're pretty much guaranteed to win.
Well, then we'll kind of have to see how it goes as we take a short break. Everyone kind of gets involved, and we start this game 1.
Yeah. Here we are heading into game one. UBC versus Fuel. Fuel on the blue side, UBC on the red side. Boo, gonna be looking up mid lane here, trying to find some sort of value. Maybe, just pressuring, making sure that nothing fancy is happening. It's gonna be a standard 5-point, except for the fact that actually both bot laners are gonna be playing more towards their lane. Now HBK gonna roam over towards this mid area just to make sure that no one's trying to any fancy business, but we're not gonna really see any invades this type of game. Nautilus could look for something, but when you play into Nautilus, it's very common to 5-stack. Instead, Fuel is going to push in, try to get some info. Ooh, starting that laser, an interesting choice here. It means he has more range, but he doesn't have the same sustain. Ward will stay alive, as D57 was not able to kill that. Now, see, Silas doesn't have an item.
And as usual, like we can see, there's very minimal action. The minions are just starting to spawn, so the first set of minion waves are getting ready to attack. We're about to see a skirmish happen in the bot lane. It's going to be just light tagging, nothing necessarily overly big to get like a first blood yet, but it's just to read into what is the plan.
Yeah, Ward's going to be placed down on each opponent's Raptors. Now, the Silas will be about a second late to his clear, as he did not have an item, so he had to recall late, get that item purchased up, get his jungle item. Now he's starting it right back up, as mid lane trading is going to go early favor towards Boo, but as these levels start to get in, Zex can really start to do some damage. You see, as Zan and HDK are going to be trading, they're trying to play for level 2 early. They do have a little bit more wave clear than UBC here, but they're definitely going to have to concede, as they have to give up a lot of space. Top lane not going to have much fun happening for a little bit. If we take a look at the runes, we'll see fairly standard across the board. Horus is going to have, Halo Blade, so he has a little bit more burst potential, a little more dueling potential. Outside of that, see Comet over here for Boo, so he gets a little bit more poke. You're normally used to seeing, Airy or First Strike, so it's an interesting take here, as otherwise, Daci's going to have Unsealed Spellbook, so he's going to be looking to make those TP plays. Mid lane is very, very Boo dominated right now, though.
And then, we can see some heavy damage from Boo taking out Zex. I could not see that E for the life of me. And then in the top lane here, you got Guru that is just slowly pushing up that front line, but it's just enough to push them back. The bot lane, however, is on the favor of UBC. They did manage to push Zan and HDK back, but still not enough to get a casualty.
Yeah, I want to highlight Silas is clear here, though. He did 3 kills top lane and then recalled for a Dark Seal. So he's going to be a little bit slower here, as, slow here, but, he's not going to be in too much threat. Nogath is finishing up his clear, as we're seeing both teams, just kind of even fighting. Horus now over here, he wants to play for the Scuttle Crab. Silas will be here too, but he's going to be down a level, so they're going to have to concede as Fuel has the push. And in the meantime, Boo just flash killed a Zex. Zex not respecting the damage early from Victor.
And a decent first blood and a good takeout into the mid, but you can see pins going out and engagements going heavily into now Fuel's favor. The minions are being blasted, but Top Guru was pushed back, so now they need to clear out that wave to start regaining that front line in the top lane. You can also see where in the bot lane especially that UBC is still constantly being ready to push back, and they have pushed Zan and HDK back to the tower yet again.
Yeah, back to their turret. It's definitely, Jinx Rockets are going to have that extra bit of clear speed here, an extra bit of CS, as well as the Nautilus just has a little bit more pressure. Zan falling behind. He's down about 10 CS here. We'll see if he can, bounce back. If, once his bounce comes in, he'll be able to play a little bit better. Guru now in the top. It actually has a solid lead built for himself, but D57 is here. Just be careful. He's going to walk over. He kind of checks it out. Horus is nearby, waiting in the wings. See if their team's really going to make any play, as Horus is pinging for some sort of a play here, but there is just going to be a ward down that spots every member of Fuel. So nothing's really going to come of this, as instead they're just going to clear.
And now you can see in the top lane, Guru about to go into another attack engagement with the Garen, and then HGK and Zan being pushed back yet again. Victor in the mid lane being with a decent... I cannot English right now, don't know why. Absolutely insane. UBC is still attempting to push back that bot lane, and they keep they keep managing to push them back, but the problem that UBC is having is they can't actually capitalize on getting a kill. There is just this stalemate happening.
They're building the CS though. You know, they're building a solid CS lead here. As you see, about a 10, 12 CS lead here, but Boo is completely terroring this mid lane up. Zex so low, is going to fall to the Chaos Storm. In the meantime, though, Guru did end up falling. Now, D57 might be in trouble. Horus's Rupture is going to go wide as damage comes in, but there is Potasi in the backline. But the damage is so high from Fuel. Horus wants to finish this. You can feel it. See, in his movements, he's hungry for that one. But instead, he's just going to back off, go to clear up his Krugs, and then maybe look for some sort of Drake play as Silas has to take the reset. Instead of looking for Krugs, he's actually just going to start the Drake try here. You have to be careful, though, as Nautilus is that first move, as well as the Jinx. The fact that their ball lane is pushed out. CS lead is going to be evened out a little bit here, but it's still going to be Marsuit in a lead. And that's not good if you're playing, you know, the Tristana definitely wants that early lead versus the Jinx. But again, your mid lane is just so strong here that as he TPs back in, it feels like UBC's not going to be able to contest this in any which way. Horus, unfortunately, does not have the feast here. He would have loved to be able to keep this dragon to get an extra stack going, but instead, he's just going to settle for a smite as we look back into the mid lane, and it's the same state. Ooh, TP is right back in, and Zex is instantly taken down. And this was your R5. This was your counter pick, and it's going horribly for Zex.
It's going really, really bad. It seems that Boo just has the higher damage output and is able to just win those simple skirmishes even with the minion wave. And then even in the top lane, it's just been stalemated. They do get silenced, but still not even a strike to their health. Garen goes in with that spinning like a Beyblade and gets a little bit, pushes them down just to around half, but has to fall back because it's just not enough of an output.
Guru's going to have, you know, that sustain. He's going to be able to heal that one back up as he has 2 cookies still in the inventory. No more pots, though. So he's going to be, you know, not full health, but it'll be very close as he actually doesn't even have to invest either. Cookies, the base regen, as he has Doran Shield second wind, he's going to be very, very tanky. Even though these, you know, these runes just got nerfed, Doran Shield got nerfed as well. It doesn't really matter. It's still so strong. As back in the mid lane, Zex now has that ultimate online, seeing if they can get some sort of value out of that unleashed power, but I don't think it's going to change too much as Boo just has the range advantage and he has the health advantage and the item advantage at this point. This lane is just going to get worse and worse for Zex as UBC in the meantime starting up these grubs as Potasi is here, has first move, and Horus and HDK are going to be way too slow on this rotate. There'll be one grub going over guaranteed to UBC, but they'll have to escape.
But will they be able to? HDK and Horus going for the attack. There's a shred, and then Boo's coming to assist as well. That's 2 down for the side. Horus taking out Potsy. Now another third. They managed to get the clear out. Guru's there, but Guru does fall, and it's not enough as HDK needs to fall back. They don't want to be kill greedy.
The Demastian Justice, you know, finds its target. Guru ends up being sentenced to death there from the light, and it will end up hitting him, so he falls down 0-2. Now, Neckles is becoming a bit of a problem here for Fuel. Zan is in danger here. That is not where you wanted to have jumped. You are in the open. He is not in the bush that he thought he was, as he's going to fall. Zex getting back on the board, as Zan is having a struggle match here, as he's now going to fall down basically 30 CS. Mid lane is still going to be very favored to Fuel, though, is going to be able to collect that plate. He should be able to get 2 here, even though the TP is going to come in, as he has double grubs, but instead he's just going to back off to play this extra range. Zex takes so much damage as soon as they switch in, and because they don't have that ultimate, they used it against Zan. There's just going to be no threat onto Boo. He's able to stay in lane for as long as possible, as long as Silas or Nautilus doesn't look. But speaking of Nautilus, he's in the wings, he's waiting, but it doesn't matter if Zax is just going to fall before anything can happen, as Boo's able to just walk away, floating. Like, I mean,
the anchor almost struck Victor, but it just wasn't enough of a distance, and they just go dodging it by the skin of their teeth, and Zex needs to fall back, and Boo's still holding their own in the mid lane. Guru getting pushed back by the Garen in the top lane, going for that engagement, but there is just this damage output. The stun goes out, as well as the tower assist brings the Garen down to half HP with the assistance from Guru, and it's just tag after tag after tag right now. And then you can also see going off into the bot lane. We can see an engagement slowly starting to build up here since Zan is back. HDK falls with a blast. You also have Horus there. They're going in for a dive. They're going to try and clear them out, but is it going to be enough? It's a very, very heavy commit.
It was a good dive angle, but, you know, Marcy was just able to flash away. Zan was actually the one who ended up tanking, which meant your damage couldn't go in. Either HDK or Horus had to be the one to or had to be the one to tank. Horus is going to have to burn flash to get away. And Fuel, you know, this game looked really favorable for you. Boo is up 3-0-1. Horus is up 1-0-1. But your bot lane is down so much. 30 CS lead over to Marsu. Here, Zan, again, really struggling to get into this game as the gold lead is going to be about 300. And I'd argue, like, you know, Boo's going to be up a lot, but it's the whole gold for UBC is going to be on this Jinx, who is up a solid 300 just from plain CS alone. But Boo is up 1,000.
And, well, because Boo's earned every single point of that. They've managed to hold their own in that mid lane for quite a while, and they've also been able to move in and assist with any team dives as well to try and suppress UBC's advances.
Bot lane play here, though, from E57. Look for a gank. Grabs that Glacial Fissure. Finds the Chain Lash, and it's going to do a lot of damage. Zan going to be in danger. He's not able to jump away. The rocket jump, he got perma CC'd. Guru did get a trade in the meantime, though, on the other side of the map. But it was going to be a 1-for-1, so he's still in trouble, as now D57 and at the side of UBC are able to start up this Drake. For Fuel, you really need to somehow alleviate your pressure on this side lane. Zan is unable to play lane. Horus will not be able to do too much, but he can deter them because he has that Feast. They think he has Feast up. Feast is a 1,300 damage smite, true damage, but he does not have it up yet. Fuel has to play this slow. You can't be affording to, 50-50 without the Cho Eat coming up any moment. Now it's up, and that means Horus will be able to get another stack for himself. He's up to 5 already, 12 minutes in, eating up those camps. He's been eating up everything. He is starting to become a true problem for UBC, a true thorn in their side. However, the first time UBC is going to have a gold lead. Zan dashes in onto Marisu, who has no flash. Instead, he's just going to have to settle for the Nautilus.
And settling for the support is what you got to do. It puts a casualty on the board. You can see in the top lane, Guru goes for the stun, gets out, and it manages to push the Garen back. In the mid lane, there is a skirmish going on between Boo and Zex, but it's just the same old, same old. Zex just cannot out-damage them right now.
No, but on the plus side, Zex is not down too much CS, right? Only being down roughly 20 CS in this lane when you're down 3-0 is a very good spot here. I mean, it's not good, right? But it's not bad. It's the big thing, right? Boo is so ahead, but yet Zex has still been able to get these CS. Meanwhile, Zan and Marsu have the exact same CS lead, but Zan has not had... Marsu doesn't have those kills. He doesn't have that extra gold from, lane, from getting those extra kills, from getting that acceleration. Speaking of acceleration, Horus is here looking for Neckles, who is just playing way too aggressive in the jungle, but he's going to be able to use his Q to get out. Get that slow resist. Boo now in trouble, has to splash the Scatter of the Weak. D57 picks up that ultimate. He picks up that Chaos Storm, but it's not really going to do much, as bot lane's just going to keep trading up. Zan has to recall here, but now, UBC has a timer. The strongest member of Fuel has no flash, no TP. There is no objective up right now, but it's going to be coming up soon. We'll be seeing Herald eventually. We'll Drake in 3 minutes. Fuel, you have to make sure not to fight while Boo has no flash, as this is the main target UBC's going to be looking for, and they have so much ability to get onto someone who has no flash.
And what is Neckles doing? They just pushed right past
Proxying.
Guru.
This is proxying. So instead of farming the wave in front of the enemy, where they can harass you or farm push you off, he's just going to farm the wave between the two turrets because he can do that.
Oh.
And it's not like Fuel can walk up and get him because he has so much boost speed, he's able to get away, as well as, Guru's not able to fight him, right? Guru just kind of has to sit there catching the wave. He's only going to proxy one wave because he wants to make sure he doesn't get overzealous. He doesn't want to get cut off by Horus, who is really starting to in this game. He does have that rocket build. He's going this more one-shot build, this more mobility build, but not as much tankiness. He can kind of afford to do that, though, as he is... he has a double front line here of tanks, and back here clearing out this pink board as Picasso's going to TP, or hook in. HK's going to be in trouble as that depth charge finds 2. So that Glacial Fissure almost finds the targets. But HDK and Zan are able to get away as Zan finds a good buster shot to knock all members of UBC back. They're still on the back foot. They are not able to play this game. Zan down 35 CS here, and it feels like it's just going to keep counting. And the Jinx is becoming a true problem as the gold is dead even.
And it seems that UBC is beginning to find their combat footing. They're looking for these fights. They're pincering. They're managing to actually start bringing the fight to Fuel.
Yeah, they are starting to, wake up. They're starting to play these fights, but they have to be careful as Horus is still a very big problem, and the objective control for Fuel's team is so dangerous. Cho'Gath never has to give up an objective because he can always comp them. He can always feast it. Horus, at 7 feasts at 16 minutes, is doing fantastically for himself. He's getting himself so accelerated, but now it's going to start to slow down as he's not going to be able to eat monsters as much as possible outside of these epic ones. He's already eaten all of the normal monsters, so he's only going to be left with champions and epic monsters, but he's going to get that smite eat. It's impossible to outsmite a Cho'Gath as honestly, it's like a 3,000 true damage combo onto an objective instantly, and making sure Horus he's going to get that stack yet again as red team, UBC, they look to try to get some sort of value here on the bot lane. If you get top turret first, Fuel already got bot turret, and because they got those objectives and the first kills, that means they're going to get those feats. So items are going to come up. You do see Boo, who invested in that early Merc Treads, and it just means he's going to be even more hard to kill from the side of UBC. They have a lot of lockdown, they have a lot of CC, but a lot of their damage is also AP, especially the damage that's able to get onto Boo with those dives. 7, Zex. Arsu's going to be able to hit from far, but he's going to be more focused on this front line. So Boo able to survive these plays, and it means that he's safer in lane for that. So he's going to be able to push up. He did take first turret, and now Neckel's going to be the one matching him in lane. But eventually, you're going to see the bot lane start to rotate over. Boo's going to have to play side lane. He has to make sure not to squander his lead away. He's done this in the past where his side laning has had some problems. But when he is basically the solo character that is this far ahead, he has to play lights out. He has to be as consistent and stable as possible. You will start up another objective. It doesn't matter if you're down gold, if you're up on soul point and you have grubs and you have herald. This is just the problem when you're fighting at a Cho'Gath. You have to play these objectives early. You can't let them get situated onto it. The field is so hard to put on.
And that's another Cho'Gath chomp to get another point on the board for the Mountain Drake. And that is another dragon in the side of field. And now as this team fight goes, Horus managed to take out Neckles. Boo takes out another, and they managed to put UBC on the back foot. However, they do manage to take out Guru.
Guru, yeah, he's definitely, he's kind of the guinea pig this game, right? He's the one they're sending in to block the Jinx damage, but he's kind of guaranteed to die at some point.
Oh, yay! He's a sacrifice!
Indeed, he is. That was, I was not ready for that one, I can't lie. But, we'll be seeing this Jinx start to get towards that IE. Once they get IE and LDR online, they'll really be able to start doing damage. In that fight, Jinx was hitting a long time, but it didn't matter because they just weren't able to get through the health bars that Fuel has. Horus has just raw health. As we look at this replay, you'll see a good engage here from the side of UBC, but they just out-sustain it. Fuel untouched. Boo doing so much damage. Zan also pretty much untouched, but Merisu, he's just not doing damage. He just doesn't have the items yet. He's coming up on this IE, though, which will be a crucial purchase, as he's not going to have it yet, though. He's still going to be a little bit of ways away. He gets his recall. He has a pickaxe now in the inventory. He's one step closer. Saucy and HK the support just going to fight it out just that little bit, but nothing's really going to come of it as Zan starts to move up. They're trying to make a top play. Fuel's macro this game has been very good. They started to fall behind in lanes, but they're rotating beautifully around their strong points. Zan and HDK are making sure to be there around the plays. You have to be careful as Neckles is very strong. HDK unable to fight that because Boo is here. Fuel, they're more willing to make plays. Boo, 2 items, has that Lich Bane, so he has that burst damage as well. He's not just pure sustain damage. He is more so burst with Luden's Lich. You're almost used to seeing, that burn build or that tanking build from the side of Victor, but when he's this far ahead, he feels like he's able to do exactly what he needs to do. He feels like he's able to do anything. It really does feel like nothing's able to stop Boo right now as Fuel looks towards this Otacon, which spawned on the top side.
And with this Otacon, they are beginning to get ready to attack it. Horus is there. Boo, you have majority of the members of Fuel with the 5th coming up. slowly, but they have to not only attack this Otacon and deal with that damage, they also have UBC watching from the sidelines like vultures.
Yeah, Fuel, be careful as this Otacon will shred through the health bars, shred through the armor of Fuel. And it means they might lose some health. Now, Guru is going to go in a good all-out finds too, but Marisu is here, and if he gets one reset, he can really start to take over this fight. He has to find the damage, though. He has to find the targets. He flashes in to try to pick off Zan, but Zan able to heal it out, jumps away, but it means Fuel will not be able to finish the Otacon. The Jinx fights off the members of Fuel. They're not wanting to stop it. They don't have the rocket. They don't have the ability to keep it up, and now they have no flash. I mean, Fuel, you have a timer. Just like UBC has one as well, as Boo no longer has that flash. To Zan. So all carries in this game are flashless. They're immobile sitting ducks for the members for these dive targets, for these CC units. Horus, a complete menace in this game right now.
Oh my gosh, he's huge!
He has almost 4,000 health. His ultimate's doing 2,000 damage, and it means UBC, they just have to play the fights. They cannot play to flip an objective. They cannot play. Herald's going to get spawned as he was not placing in time. It auto-placed. But it's going to go towards the mid lane. Now, Fuel, they're going to see if they can crash this. They have to be careful as Horus gives up Cho'Gath ultimate. So now it's a free play for UBC. Both teams have this one-shot ultimate, right? Both teams have this objective-killing ultimate. So 57 is not going to be in too much trouble anymore. But it's still so hard for him to fight into the amount of damage that Horus is dealing with, the amount of health. That Rupture carrying a quarter of his health as side laning. Boo just going to keep pushing. He doesn't need to play this as he has the TP. He can play it slow. Otacon started up by UBC. They feel like they have to force something. The game is slipping out of their hands, and this is the time when they're most even.
And right now, it's like Fuel currently circling this Otacon. They're trying to wait for either UBC to pull back or try to steal. The Otacon is now chasing. This is allowing the rest of Fuel to go in. Boo managed to teleport, and now they're just going for these towers.
Fuel doesn't care about the Otacon.
They don't care at all.
They're just going to kill the turret. You know, UBC, they get the TP out of Boo, but now control is all in favor of Fuel. Marisu takes so much damage from that laser from Boo, already down to half HP. A good Rupture finds 2 of 4. 3-man Glacial Fissure there from HDK. Means every member of UBC is going to fall outside of their Jinx. And it doesn't matter if you're a Jinx, you know, left alone. You don't have Rocket and Fuel. They're going to be able to collect another objective for themselves. They do not have the Cho'Gath ultimate, but they have Smite, and that's all you need. As you know, another objective goes over to Fuel. The Drake is up yet again, but because of the timer on this, you know, this Silas death, and he won't be able to take Cho'Gath ult. Fuel, they're just going to walk their way over there, but they're going to fight Neckles first.
And Neckles on his own knows, hey, guys are coming my way, so he's going to step off, go for that jungle, take out the chickens for a little bit just to get some form of a bonus. But honestly, it's now like Fuel don't care. They're just walking by, and HGK is there waiting for him.
HGK finds Neckles, but honestly, Fuel, why would you care about this player as, you know, the Silas is going to be late. Drake is already falling down. Cho'Gath has the ultimate, and that means Soul goes over dry for Fuel, and this fight is fairly much guaranteed to go their way, as a good knock-up there from the Nautilus finds its mark. 57 goes in, but he cannot find the target. He finds Zan, but Boo is the true damage. It doesn't matter, as Jake's found the shutdown. She has that IE now. Boo finds the hook, finds Boo, being able to heal it up. A good scout of the week from Zex, though, as the unleashed power takes down the health bar of Boo and executes him, and the gold flips over to UBC. Off of the fact that your Jinx had IE, you had your item spikes. It doesn't matter that you're behind, you know, these objectives. You're really not going to find the Mountain Soul in that type of fight, as the shield's only going to happen once. There's not going to be a sustained fight. There's not going to be a poke fight there for Fuel. As UBC march in, they're going to try to take an inhib with this play. They're trying to take as much as humanly possible as they finally got themselves a lead this game. And HDK is going to gift them another one. As he gets hooked up, he's going to be able to live with that shield. Safe, but I mean, Fuel slipping up here. You know, you have Soul, but now UBC, they have time, right? They have time till next Elder. Baron is not up for another 20 seconds because of how strong the Jinx is. 2 items on this Jinx, and she's just doing so much more than Zan. Zan's 2 items as well, but Tristana is just not doing the same level of damage that Marisu is doing on this Jinx. Jinx has been able to tear through the health bars of Fuel, get those resets, and start to get excited, start to kill every member of Fuel. Horus just doesn't have the sustain, doesn't have, you those resistances. Now that the Jinx doesn't need LDR because there's no real resistances on the side of field. There's no armor.
Oh my gosh, the festive Baron looks adorable.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I love it. Very
See,
festive.
though, gets picked off here. Horus finds one, and now that's Fuel's ticket to start up the Baron. They are keeping this objective control up, something we haven't seen Fuel much this season. They haven't really been an objective-focused team. They've been more so, they like for the side lanes, they like for the team fights. But in this game, it's been all about those objectives, and I think that's a sign. I think that's because they have the Cho'Gath. If you're playing Cho'Gath without objective control, now he does steal that away. Horus, Cho'Gath not going to lose those smite fights as Horus can't find the Rupture on Amarsu, but they did find the Silas. Bromfell in the meantime. Fuel can keep marching this forward. Now they have the Baron empowered minions. Jinx won't be able to clear these waves. Syndra won't be able to clear these waves. And Horus is just a problem. He's just so menacing in the front line. What can Amarsu do?
Not really anything except fall back and get back with his friends, but it's still not going to be enough. As quickly this tower falls down, they do pull back. It's better to play it safe than risk trying to go for the inhibitor.
They just don't have a wave. Neckles is
Yeah,
going to proxy the wave here. Catch it before Fuel can make some sort of end push. May fall for this, but he's going to be able to dash away. There's one minion left for Fuel. Cho'Gath, Horus, he's just going to look, and because of that hail of blades damage, his amount of damage he got out of those full spikes, it's so much damage there from Cho'Gath. His max health damage, he does AP damage. This is basically a full AP Cho'Gath. You can't think that this Cho'Gath is a tank just because he has 6,000 health. He is building full AP. He has so much damage in his kit, and unfortunately, Patasi is going to fall victim to that damage. There's another pick comes out for Fuel, but HDK is going to give one over. As 3 members of UBC are here. Glacial Fissure used by D57, but it doesn't matter. The Mossy Injustice is going to find another target, another foe. Is going to be quelled by Neckles here. As they try to come back into this. They're up 3k gold, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like the game is just all in Fuel's favor. But really, this Baron is actually in favor of UBC.
But with that being in favor of UBC, Fuel just needs to win at least 2 more full team fights to really commit to securing this.
Likely one team wipe ends this game. Next team fight win, like if a team wipes, they'll win the game. And it's likely going to be around this Elder, right? In 2 minutes, you see Elder Dragon spawning. And this is the problem when you get those soul, but you don't really capitalize on as much as Fuel needed to. Now Elder's up. The Elder flip is open. 57, though, going to take this Cho'Gath all early because they're trying to punish Horus is overstepping here. Is exactly what they do, but Horus doesn't take damage. And Boo on the back line. The Chaos Storm is tearing through the health bars. A triple kill for Boo as he's going to keep on marching forward. The Laser's going to find Zex. Boo finds his 4th, a quadra kill for the mid laner and the captain of Fuel, and they're going to march their way into the base to take this first game. There's no stopping them. The next person up is in 15 seconds, and it's just a measly Nautilus. HDK can tank this wave. Guru can tank the turret. Fuel end this game 22-15. The gold dead even at the end. But Boo, the real star of the show, 9-1-7. Horus 8-2-9. The mid jungle of Fuel taking over.
And that puts the first round on the board for Fuel Esports. What a good first match and a really strong start. It looked like for quite going into the early game, especially into the mid game, it was around dead even. We didn't really know which way it was going to go. But then, yeah, you're right. That Cho'Gath, once they started getting that point, they became a problem. The Jinx became a problem for the side of UBC, but they just weren't able to meet the damage output that Fuel was able to dish out.
Yeah, they hit 3 items at the end, but unfortunately, the Victor was just too tanky. He did too much damage. Boo dealt so much in that fight. If it was just Cho'Gath that was fed, I think UBC wins that. But because of how ahead Boo was and that he kept his lead the entire time, he never squandered away. He only died, I think, once total, right? So he completely played almost flawless. The only time he died was when he had no flash. He got hooked, right? So Fuel, they're definitely going to be happy with that win. Now they have to see if they can get a second one. Their picks are out of the pool. They do not have this Cho'Gath, which is what Horus has been mainly finding success on. He hasn't found much success outside of the Cho'Gath pick. And Boo as well, the Victor. Fuel played beautifully the objectives around the Cho'Gath. Their control, using the feast to guarantee these objectives. They played it perfectly. Now they have to see how they're going to do, as this is a fearless draft game, right? Cho'Gath is not open yet again. We'll see how they do that. Welcome back, everybody. Heading into game two draft here. Fuel bans are going to be dead equal. It's the same bans for both sides. Neither team thinks that the ban was the problem, that the draft was the issue. It's more so maybe a matter of execution. And I think, again, UBC just got tricked by the fact that the Tristana was going bot because they didn't know that based off of match history. Now, Zan didn't pilot it like as well as he could have, but it meant that, Boo got a nice pick onto his Victor. It wasn't banned away, which is his strongest pick. So now we'll see how Fuel ends up adapting. But UBC took blue side. The Fury first pick for the jungler. A lot more carry focused. He's not wanting to play, the supportive role. He doesn't want to play a role where he has to let his team do the work. He wants to be the one to take this game over, take it by its reins. Now we'll see what Fuel decides to respond as far as jungle is, because their jungle pool is definitely limited.
Yeah, with the Cho'Gath being taken out, they are left to a lot more minimal picks. But the Nefiri, they might go for a counter pick. They might go for something stronger. The Mel coming in.
The Mel is going to be another Boo classic. Now, Mel, one of the strongest champions right now on this current patch. However, the thing with Mel, she's getting nerfed really heavily. Mel, very stable if you can get, that lead. She has a lot going for her, right? So she has the reflect, reflects any projectile coming at her, makes her invulnerable. She has her own route. She has, that extra damage, that poke. She has that burst with her ultimate. This character does a lot, but you do have to start to get that snowball. You have to get those levels going. If you fall behind early, you can really start to struggle like a lot of these champions. Xin Zhao pick. Now that is, the traditional pick you'd be expecting from Horus as far as jungle is concerned. His pool, right, his main three characters are Cho'Gath, Diana, and Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is the only one that's truthfully, a really good competitive jungler, but you'll have not found success on this so far in this season, in this semester at all. We'll see if they can change that. If Horus, he's feeling good after last game, needs to have another stellar performance here to make sure that Fuel takes a 2-0 victory here, as Rise looks to be the hover, a very strong mid laner, and a good 2v2.
And now, with UBC taking the next champion pick, it seems fairly minimal. They need to kind of go into, like, maybe the first game's picks was a bit like the B tier for some players, the A tier for some, and now it's kind of swapped. Like, you're going into your B tiers now, or you're maybe having to, or maybe you held on to your A tiers for this one.
You're still definitely looking A tiers, S tiers. I think, these players, because of the ranks that they're going to be at, they're going to be playing a lot more picks, right? They have a very wide pool outside of a couple, niche players here and there that have a bit more specialization. They can kind of play everything because a lot of these champions boil down to just base game knowledge, right? There's individual mechanics, but overall, if you're just good at the game, you're probably able to play most of these characters, which is what both these teams are probably likely to do. Sivir, very strong 80 carry here. Now I'm expecting Fuel to respond. I think Ashe is probably your main look. You could also look for maybe the Ezreal here, as that is a Zan classic.
Sion.
But instead, Fuel is going to make sure that, they're a team that does not like giving draft resources to their top laner at all. They will blind pick him in any situation possible, but here it's not a blind pick. What they're going to do is they're going to pick Sion and then ban 2 counters. Expecting Gwen. The second ban I'm expecting, probably, you could see a Rumble ban. You could see, this wouldn't be bad.
He's happy.
Zan, yeah, he's feeling good. Kai'Sa's banned away. Now, Fuel, they're not going to play Kai'Sa.
No.
The bot, Zan likes Kai'Sa. His support does not very much. So, unfortunately, whenever Kai'Sa's picked, there's just a little bit of, miscommunication. They don't love playing it together. So, it's more of a team game than you think. Mundo is actually going to be the ban there for Fuel. They don't want to give another tank that's just able to, freely push side lane versus Sion, able to scale up health-wise. Caitlyn banned away. Now, Zan, he still has the full pool, and they've given counter pick to their support. R5 support is equally as strong as R5 to pop in a lot of situations, especially if you don't have a carry top laner, which is exactly what Guru is. Now we'll see if Fuel find that answer, find what this 80 carry is going to be. I think Ashe again still your number 1 pick. I think Zan could also look for Yunara maybe. It is going to be that Yunara, a bit more hyper carry, less utility than the Ashe, but more damage, more carry potential in the end. Something he wants. He wants a bounce back after last game where he was kind of a passenger, right? He wasn't doing that much. Bard is going to be the hover here for UBC. Extremely strong support, so much utility. See what Fuel responds.
If Bard's going to be the case, I'm seeing at least now for UBC, you have a very similar to last game, like a fast-paced composition that will be really good for, again, going for those dive attacks, and Fuel is leaning more into that build, hold on until the mid game, and then just start bringing down the hate.
Yeah, UBC's both comps are fairly similar to last time, right? Fanshaw's comp, you see both, big hyper carry backline unit, right? Mel gonna do a lot of this damage, a lot of this burst. Good side laner, Yunara as well, and then the Scions in our front line. They're gonna be able to tank up this damage. UBC, they got those dive targets, right? They got the Nafir, they got the Bard. Ornn is gonna be the
Ornn.
lock, a very good pick to, facilitate Sivir and Rise from getting in, getting those long range engages. Lets Nafiri dive just that little bit further. Now it's up to Fanshaw to pick. It's up to Fuel to pick the support. What is HDK thinking? He could go like a patented pick of his, right? He could go, like the random Jack support, right? He could go, one of these odd picks, but he could also just play a standard pick.
Seraphine.
Seraphine is going to be a very interesting hover here. Lulu instead, so he looks to be playing one of these enchanters. In fact, not sure what he's playing at all yet, but it seems like the Lulu was the lock. Lulu Yunara, extremely strong comp here. Lulu as well, very good into the Nefiris. You can polymorph Nefiri out of the dive, and they can't W it in time. The Fuel, they're back to the standard comp, right? This comp, they have a little bit less health, a little bit less frontline. Especially Xin Zhao outside of his ultimate is going to be quite squishy and very easy for UBC's comp to blow up, especially if he does not get ahead like he needs to. Scion's going to be hard to deal with regardless, but Sivir can eventually start to tear through these health bars. But the Lulu, Yunara, Mel, if these guys can start to get some snowball rolling, start to get anything going, they're going to be such high damage, such big threats in the backline, and Lulu's just going to keep pumping those shields, pumping those heals, pumping that peel, where the Bard will just have to find miracle angles.
So what it seems that what Fuel can really capitalize on is if UBC overextends. UBC, if they keep a good locked advanced formation and just slowly creep, get those objectives, but they stay together and don't overextend, that might be an issue for Fuel.
UBC has two ways, right, of playing, right? Either A, they find a dive on to the Lulu, or the backline of Fuel, but Lulu's really your main target, because I think if you don't get on Lulu, the other two can just survive it. Or you just play a standard front to back, you let your Sivir, your Rise hit, and you just, once they're low, then your Nefiri starts to dive in, then your Bard looks for these angles, your Ornhorn comes up on top. I think you're going to be seeing both teams playing more front to back, but Fuel is going to have that damage advantage. They're going to have, their side lane is going to be a little bit weaker. Rise, one of the strongest side lane units in the game, but they're going to have, that sustain. They're going to have that poke in the team fights, and their front to back is that much better. But we'll see how each team ends up piloting this. We're heading into our first game soon.
I close my eyes, it's not a dream. There's so much more that I can get. Let me wonder what we could have been. I swear that it couldn't keep. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream.
And here we are with Game 2, Fuel Esports versus UBC. Fuel on red, UBC on blue. And we are going already right off to a little bit of a decent start. We might see an engagement in the mid. Zex versus Boo. We saw this fight last time. There's a bit of a tagging. Boo does get hit a bit. But just like last time, it's light skirmishing. Fairly simple. Horus is trying to tag out Neckles. Does get some decent attacks. You do also see another member of Fuel coming in, but it is a 2v3 on that mid. They're just chilling at that central point. Zan and HDK holding their own in the bot lane, just getting ready. The minions are spawning, and we are ready to go.
Yeah, Zax walking in here is going to be switching over to the jungle. I heard from the UBC people in the chat that Zex is in fact a jungle main. So we'll see if they can do better on this role, on their comfort role, as mid lane. They did okay, but Boo definitely still got the upper hand, took over after that early lane went his way. Now we'll see D57 can do equally, if he can match Boo in this lane, or if Boo's just going to be unstoppable yet again. Boo on this Mel. Playing it. It's been banned away from him a lot of these games in this semester, as he's been playing it a lot. Now, Horus is going to be over to his Inzao. He get checked on his Raptors by Zex, so Zex knows where Horus started, but Horus technically doesn't know where Zex started. You can kind of infer from the topside start here. HDK taking a lot of damage in a trade here. I really want to be early trading as the Lulu. Inara having to use those pots early here is your Lulu. We're going to have to give up some space to Neckles. He doesn't want to play a carry character anymore. He doesn't want to play Garen. We're watching Ornn versus Sion. There's not going to be much in action unless, one of them oversteps really badly in the Ornn, like solo kill. But Poke coming in, own plating up against the Mel. Does have a low burst. I feel like it might be a little bit wasted as he can poke you down. He has the outranging potential. We'll see who ends up doing, as Nersu was kind of the highlight player for UBC last game. Let's see if he can keep that up. He is on a character that can really start to carry a game, right? Sivir, very strong, especially if you can start to get, if you're in an even game state, Sivir's always going to be strong, but Yunara does equal value as Sivir. And the CS went the favor of UBC last time. Bella's Breath is used. Reckles has to leave away. He does not get the Brittle stack. He does not get his Grasp. Guru alleviating some of his own pressure here in the top lane.
And with these light skirmishing, it's just your simple early game. We see some pings coming out from UBC into that bot lane. There is an engagement in the mid. Who goes for the attack? HDK falling through. Are they going to try and go for the chip? They just managed to survive.
Yeah, D57 can be able to live. He does ends up walking away without having to burn the flash. The mid play end up working out how Fuel wanted it to. But it does mean that Boo is able to stabilize. He's able to get another push in, and he'll be able to get a better reset, as the only item D was able to reset on was a tier. Boo will likely be looking for, maybe a Lost Chapter reset. It might just be a, it's more likely to be a Dark Seal plus something. Maybe Dark Seal boots. Could also be Dark Seal. Let's see, it is going to be a Dark Seal and an Amp Tome here for Boo, so he's going to be a little bit stronger. TP's come in from both mid laners, so we're back to even. Horus going to be on a reset. He got that he got that Scuttle Crab. Zex is going to be coming back over towards the top scuttle, so both teams going to gain a scuttle of their own. Guru has to be careful, though, as there is an Fury nearby, but instead he wants to trade aggressively. You can see he wants to punish Neckles overextension. Yes, be careful as the Brittle's here, and Zex is here with those dogs. The Fury looking for something.
Oh,
but he's
a nice
forced to flash away is Neckles. This might give Guru some false hope, as D57's here as well. It's going to be a triple play on to. Instead, they're just going to back off, and they're going to lose a lot of tempo here. We were able to survive this play, as Neckles just doesn't have the mana, but instead he may overextend. You can Scene of Fury just constantly hovering around here. Fuel playing it well, Guru making sure not to give any moment, let the play happen as Guru trading into D57 here. It's going to be even. The push is going to go the way of Guru. He has that CS lead now because of how that roam ended up playing out. He's going to have about a 3 CS lead here. See, as Fuel, they're starting to take a little bit of pressure in these lanes, but again, bot lane is just behind again naturally.
And it seems that's kind of been the just the theme so far. Like bot kind of is kind of falling back while mid and top kind of take majority of the CS. But you can see Guru going for a bit of a risk, going in, attacking that tower, takes a good chunk out of it with a single strike.
If only that turret weren't there, because Guru would have pressed the ultimate button and killed Neckles there, but instead now he's going to be in trouble. Zex here, as well as the Ornhorn. He does have the unstoppable onslaught, but he doesn't have the mana to cast it. Guru, a little bit of a misplay there, but he'll be able to catch up the wave. Doesn't matter as Neckles able to stabilize. Zex able to start to get some sort of snowball rolling, start to get into this game. 1-0 lead for the Nefiri here. Only kill, but Horus sticking to what he was doing last game. He's right back on those objectives.
And now with 3 members of Fuel attacking this dragon, but there's a member of UBC waiting.
He's walking over. I wonder if they can test this. It looks like they want to. Zex looking for a steal, looking to dash over, smites it away from Horus.
Oh!
Will have to flash away, but a fantastic play there from Zex, showing up and outsmiting Horus there. Doesn't have the Cho'Gath ult to fall back on. Has to make do. Now, Zex pulls that emergency exit, flashes away as fast as possible. Be able to leave there. But it is going to be the objective in favor. The CS also favoring Zex. Zex starting to really snowball this game away. Horus is going to fall behind, and it's hard. Horus has a Dark Seal.
Now, wait, what's Dark Seal?
An AP stacking item that on kill you gain more AP, but he's playing Xin. I know he likes his AP Xin. I think it's not bad, but it's an interesting buy because it delays your Sundered Sky, and that item is very, very important on this character. Not traditional, but he does play Xin Zhao a lot. He'd end up falling though on the other side. I mean, he fell. He died. I don't know where he died,
but he died somewhere.
Yeah, he's dead.
Well, hey, it happens. You die
it
in
does,
this game.
right? It does indeed. But now UBC taking this lead, and it feels like Fuel, they're struggling with it. These comfort picks that they have. Zan is really struggling bot here. Not as much as some other, the CS leads all away, except for, again, in mid lane, it's going to be the favor of UBC. Just a dry CS lead on each side. Now Horus looks for something onto Neckles, who has no flash. Ult knock up there for Guru, and they're just looking to block. He has to be careful. He has to flash away, and Horus will not be able to finish the kill unless this wind becomes lightning finds
there
its
you go.
mark. It does. Neckles not able to sidestep that. He almost survived with just chugging cookies. He kept eating those cookies, and he kept getting the healing. It didn't stop the play in the end. It did mean more investment for Fuel that they wanted. Guru had to press the ult flash there. He had the ult. Horus. Now D57 is going to look for something here, but he's just going to catch the wave. As I said, the Bard's going to be the one to hunt out that Scion, but the Scion is already well and truly gone. He used that recall, left the field, did not want to be nearby the team of UBC as they start up the scrubs.
Now Horus is going in, goes for the attack. Doesn't
checking, right?
He's
checking, but he doesn't have the push. His team is not here. So he's going to have to concede all 3 grubs. He's not able to find anything as Zex snowballing this game from the jungle position. Horus could look for a steal. Maybe your Mel gets a Q steal, right? That's your best bet, but it's not going to happen as 3 grubs go the way of UBC. And now they can really start to pressure these side lanes even more. Sivir has already been able to push side lane, as well as this Ryze is going to be a real side lane threat later in the game and be able to take these turrets a lot faster as they have this triple grub. So UBC, they found themselves in a very good position to keep this snowball going and try to take themselves a bit of a lead here in this game. Try to snowball into the next objective as 2 objectives their way.
And it seems like we're seeing a very different game from map 1. It seems UBC is really gaining a lot of ground, and the momentum is just slowly building more and more.
the momentum is definitely in the favor of UBC right now, right? And it's off the back of your jungler just having a solid CS lead, gold lead, kill lead. Everything really is just going to go the way of Zex here right now, who's up 12 CS. So that's about 3 camps, as well as getting towards that Profane Hydra may also be a ravenous. See what they end up electing for. I think Zex definitely go for more of a full one-shot build. They wanted to, as they are kind of the main dive target, but at the same time, like right front line on the side of UBC. Top lane just gonna keep on, fighting out with their meat sticks, basically. They're just having a little bit of a brawl here.
The hammer versus the axe.
There's not gonna be much to really come of this. Guru getting that extra damage with that decimating smash. As Boo looks to try to chunk D57 here, and he's gonna find just that. Now on the next rotation, D has to be careful, as a Q ult will kill him here, and Boo knows that well. That's what he's looking for, but he's not going to find it. The Rise is going to back off, get this recall. Boo have to do likely the same.
But it seems the bot lane for the side of Fuel has really gotten a little bit more with an advance. But another attack, the horn comes out to play, and Guru with just some temporary HP. It is just coming down to the wire, and it's Guru with barely any health to their name. They're at 300 and increasing.
Yeah, that's the tank battle for you, right? The Ornn finds the initial engage, but he does not get his triple brittle, which means he doesn't have the burst damage. The second brittle leaves Guru with 1 HP. He presses that ultimate, he presses that shield. He charges the Q after he perma-CC'd and gets a full decimating smash, and it's going to be enough damage to finish off Neckles. Guru getting himself in this game. He has a 20 CS lead in this lane, and reminder, Ornn was picked into the Scion here. Fuel, they picked the Scion early. They blind picked this. It is a Profaned Hydra for Zex. As I was mentioning, the first items are starting to come in, but they're going to favor UBC as Fuel starts up a Drake yet again. But again, the items are just in the lead of UBC. They play this Tempered Fate in here for Bard as the ult comes in. That Realm Warp teleports the members of UBC into the backline, and now it's a 4v5. But with the Scion here, Guru will be able to make something happen. The smite goes the way of Zex yet again.
And now as the battle goes forth, the chipping of the health to the side of Fuel is not looking good. They're barely getting away by the skin of their teeth. Horus falls,
It's gonna be
followed by another, but it's a very Pyrrhic victory for the side of UBC. Actually, it looks like the tide is turning. They're chasing down.
No,
Guru is chasing.
it was entirely favored to Fuel there.
Whoa.
Yeah, Fuel, no,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, the ace out of nowhere, and it really, I'm gonna be honest, it comes off the back. First off, Guru doing so much damage tanking in there, but really, Boo just untouched in the back line, doing so much damage. If you watch this fight yet again, right? Horus finds a fantastic ult flash there from the Crescent Guard to just separate the team of UBC, which means Fuel can play this slow. The heals, the shields come out. Horus does fall, but that ultimate, that golden eclipse comes on top, the double root onto the back line, and we're right back into the action as Zex finds Boo on the side lane, and that's going to be Boo's death. Demise. It's actually a double kill, as HDK was there too, apparently.
Okay. And now the kills is 6-7.
Indeed they are. Don't you worry, we hit the emote at home. I hope you did too. But okay. As Fuel, they start to find themselves their footing, right? They're up 1k gold here, but the Drakes are the advantage of UBC. The objectives are their favor. It's going to be a battle for the first turret to try to get these feats going on, but I feel like Fuel is going to be at the disadvantage as bot lane is already taking damage. Who having to invest this TP. Zan back in mid lane, going to farm up, but he's down 20 CS again. He just keeps on falling behind. He has a 4 assist, but he wasn't able to find the damage, find those kills, as this full lethality, this one-shot Nefiri is really becoming a problem for Fuel. Picks up another 2 kills, which means just more and more snowball going to go the way. Horus ended up playing very well last fight with the ultimate, but he won a flash this time. And now Zan is going to be in deep trouble as Bukasi finds those auto attacks. Those meeps are doing the damage. They're slowing. He dodges the Q, though, and now he might be able to fight his way out as he meets up with Guru, but there's an Ornn behind him. Does not have his ultimate. He doesn't have the Transcend oneself to be able to take himself out of this fight. A good ult stops Guru's ult in the meantime. The flash is still going to get caught by the Tempered Fate.
And then you can also see with the brutality of the attack there, they're pushing through. And it just seems that UBC is gaining a lot more ground and they're striking more and more. We have the tanks battling again and again and again, and it's just chipping away slowly because they're just two big meaty dudes that are just attacking each other until one falls, you know?
Yeah, exactly that. But Guru is going to have the advantage here. And Hollow Radiant's going to be a much better item than the Sunfire Cape here. Sunfire Aegis, sorry, that was an old my fault. But no, you know, he's definitely going to have more value. Marasu finds Boo, though, on the meantime on the side lane, as likely got caught out by Potasi. Boo not respecting the members of UBC, and it's causing him to fall on these side lanes. He was able to play side lanes because of how head-to-head he was last time. Now Guru likely to fall as Zex does the damage, but the Redemption comes in, and he's actually able to survive. But he does find it's a 1 for 2. Horus going to take that kill at the last possible moment. As Zan comes here, the circle comes out, it finds its mark. They have to be careful as Zex does a lot of damage. He uses that ultimate to get out. Now Zan needs this kill. He wants this kill. If Zan, I'm gonna be honest, I thought Zan was gonna flash for the kill, but he doesn't flash. So it looks like Zex may have been able to actually circumvent a little bit of tricky maneuvers there. The W keeping him invulnerable meant that they were able to get out. And now Fuel, they want to keep pushing this advantage, and they're going to do so by hitting Rudolph the Red Nose Rift Herald.
And they're going to start up, but could potentially someone from UBC try and steal again? Because so far they've stolen 2 objectives right under Fuel's nose.
Doesn't look like they're going to want to contest this. Never mind. They are exactly, but they're going to still play the fight.
I told you!
How? The Sivir got it.
I told
the
you!
Sivir got it. His Horus didn't have Smite. We're starting Rift Herald with no Smite. Horus, Fuel throwing the game away on that exact moment as the Sivir steals another objective, and Zex and the rest of UBC walk their way into the backline of Fuel. It's just Guru and HDK left alive as Zex sidesteps that Decimating Smash. They will not find more damage, but Herald goes down in mid lane, and now they're just going to keep on pressing the advantage, pressing the initiative. Instead, the Herald actually went top lane. Rather, they're just going to get a double charge here. And now, gold is all in the favor of UBC off of a crucial misplay from Fuel. They thought they could burst down that Rift Herald before UBC could answer, but the Tempered Fate comes out from Potasi. It stops it in its tracks, and it means the Smite does not come out. Marasu steals it with that bouncing blade. Because of that, Fuel fall behind 4K gold lead. And the objectives, bounties, have started.
Absolutely insane. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Herald gets hijacked by UBC. And they absolutely take objective after objective.
So we take a look at
Absolutely
the replay.
insane.
I wasn't even looking. I was looking at Zax in the meantime, but just a random Q steals it away. Zax did so much damage onto Zan. He has to get, he gets ulted, he gets ignited. Everything is burned onto him. And Zax, just unkillable. Just able to keep this going, as that is the play. And that play really changes the tides. The fight went over. Remember the last fight we saw, the last full team fight, was an ace for Fuel. Here, we're back on Drake, and it's the opposite story of what last game was, where instead of last time where Fuel had every objective, it's all UBC, and another Tempered Fate finds 2. The Redemption's going to be there afterwards. Horus looks for the Crescent Guard. He finds the Smite to finally get a little bit of his footing back, and he's so hard to deal with. And Enchanted up, Jin Zhao is difficult to deal with. Zex almost finds Zan, but the Rise finds Boo. Good route there, and now Marasu is still kind of untouched. We were trying to find him, but it didn't matter as D's hitting from the side, completely untouched. Marasu able to survive the engage from Fuel, and it's just going to be an ace for the side of UBC, and they're going to keep their snowball rolling. The objective bounties are off though, as again Horus finally finds the Smite, finds that steal of his own. Get a little bit of something back, but it just doesn't matter when the play goes the favor. The team fights just go UBC's way.
It absolutely seems that there's been a huge shift in the tides here, with UBC constantly managing to get these objectives and also win these fights, but that previous fight was a bit of a Pyrrhic victory for the side of UBC. they lost quite a lot and had to expend a lot of resources to win that fight.
They took it, but they killed every member of Fuel, and they
Yeah.
only ended up losing 2. They did use a lot of summoners, right? So no flashes are going to be on carries for UBC. No carry flash at all whatsoever. For Fuel, Zan has flash. Nothing else is up as far as these objectives, or as far as these summoners are concerned. You need to see Guru start to get into these fights a little bit more. He needs to be able to tank up the damage. And you need to see Horus. He keeps ulting to try to, get these big engage ult, but someone has to get onto the Sivir Rise as Zex overextends and gets polymorphed up as the Golden Eclipse falls upon him and sets the sun to demise of Zex there, who is going to fall. Now Fuel, they have a little bit of an advantage. Otacon is up. That's a big throw by UBC. Otacon can be started up here. Fuel, they can play the 4v5. They're going to be favored in this. Sure, Sivir and Rise are very ahead. I think still, just because of the raw number advantage and the fact that you have a smite, you're going to have an advantage. Horus goes over to the wave to clear it up, as it looks like UBC want to fight. It's a good stun onto Buoy's dangerously low off of that Sivir Q. But the redemption comes in, HDK keeping his team alive. The good stun, and now the Ornhorn from behind finds 2. Horus and Guru try to fight their way out of it in the front line, but they only find a Sivir to boot. And Zan sent packing as it's a 4-4-1 for the side of UBC, and it feels like Fuel, you can't find the answer. They have not been able to find their footing. They're slipping. The game is falling out of their hands as Zex picks up yet another blow. 6-3-7, 6-1-7 for this Rise. That's a double. That's a double one, right? You got 6-1, you got 6-7, you got a double there. Yeah, as 7-2-6 here 114. Every member of UBC making magic happen, miracles. These Bard engages have been lights out. Potasi finding these tempered fates, finding these 2-man stuns, and just making it so Fuel cannot find their footing. They want to play these fights slow. What they want to do is they want to front to back. They play with their poke. Boo out-pokes them. They out-heal them because of HDK and Guru being a little bit more health, more tankiness. But they just have not been able to, as they're just getting run over in the front line.
I'm really wondering now, like, from a tactical perspective, what needs to be Fuel's response to this snowball that UBC has really developed here? Because it seems UBC has hyper aggression, high damage. They're managing to steal objectives right under the nose of Fuel the moment they're able to get those stuns in.
The biggest thing that Fuel can play for is, if you look at the Rise, you'll see a 700 gold above him. Fuel, if they can get this shut down, that'll be 1,000 gold into the pocket, whoever gets it. And then the gold lead, it shrinks just that little bit. They also need to look for one of these objectives. They're playing 5 people in the top jungle, or 4 people in the top jungle for both times. Actually, they've flipped the flip side somehow. UBC's in Fuel's jungle, and Fuel is in UBC's jungle.
It's just, it just works.
But 46 seconds for this break. Now, thankfully, Horus bought his team some time. They do outscale eventually, right? They will start to become a very big problem for UBC. But they have to be careful, as Neckles is going to start to get this. He's going to start to get his Ornn items online. He's going to start to be able to build up his team, get his carries just that bit stronger, as the 80 carry items are the biggest difference here. I mean, mid lane's going to be 2 to 3, right? 2 to 3, but if you look at 80 carry, Harris, who's getting almost at that IE, I'm betting like 200, 300 gold off, whereas Zan just finished his second item. There's almost a full item difference between these 80 carries, and a 3-item Sivir is going to be a problem for Fuel to deal with, as the Drake spawns up and full control is UBC's way. And Fuel, you have to give this, I think. Fuel, the reason that the steal is so important is they bought themselves time, right? They're not fighting into Soul right away. They don't have to play for Soul here. So they do get that steal, which means they can make some sort of cross-map play, which is exactly what they do. They're looking for Reckles. Dan is here in 4 members. 5 members of Fuel. They do find 1. There's nothing to find off of it, as there's no Baron up, but it is a good pick on Taboo. Get him that extra bit of damage. I think you need to start to get Zan accelerated in this game. I don't think Zan can sit here with 1 kill only. I think he needs to start getting some of these final blows. And in a situation like that, you can afford to give it over to whoever needs it most, because it's not able to get away. You have 5 people around him, so I think Fuel should have maybe delayed that a little bit more, try to get Zan that kill. There's who gets top wave here. Top. Find value. And actually, Neckles was just roaming around in Fuel's jungle for fun.
Yeah, no, it seems just Neckles was just kind of off on his own, doing his own thing, but then Fuel managed to capitalize just to kind of pincer and take them down. What Fuel needs to do is start securing these objectives, but honestly, I think they need to wait for UBC to overextend to the point where they know they cannot get out of a fight.
Fuel has 4 minutes to try to make something happen, as once that soul fight starts, it's going to be pretty much lights out for Fuel. Now, Baron is up in 20. If Fuel can find a crucial pick on, say, the jungler, or, an 80 carry, or one of these damage units, they can look for a Baron flip. I think Baron flip is your best bet right now because of how far behind you are, right? It's only 4k gold, but it feels like so much more. It feels monumental, as the triple 3 items are going to be completed for both of the carries of UBC, and Fuel's carries are on components. They're not there. This IE Sivir will tear through the health bars as Horus looks for an engage, but he's just shredded. His health bar taken so low as Zax finds the ultimate. Call the pack, finds one, gets a cleanup, and I think they just played it way too fast. Fuel, you cannot be playing and engage into there. Horus thinks he's able to look for something as the root comes out for D57, and this swap, this role swap for UBC has paid massive dividends. Fuel not able to find anything. Guru, once again, the last standing, just has to walk away, his tail between his legs, and there's just no hope for his team to take this game, as it feels like it keeps on slipping and slipping and slipping. And that really is just an overextension from the jungler.
It really does seem that this fight is slowly falling more into the favor of UBC. Just a couple more, maybe even one more team fight to close this out, and UBC will bring us to a map 3. I don't see how Fuel can reverse this and really gain a victory out of this.
Yeah, that is a very, very big deal there for Fuel, for both teams really, as, we're seeing, I see a little bit of items coming in. Fuel getting close to that death cap. If Boo can get a death cap, and then maybe Zen can get his IE, there's just that little bit of hope for you. But those are a ways away. Zen is nowhere close to that IE. That's still 2,000 gold away, roughly. So he's still going to be in trouble. Boo, about 1,000, probably 600 off of that death cap. But is it going to be enough, as the front line of Fuel is just holding like paper, and their back line doing the same? I mean, Horus is one of the so squishy in this game. He's not been able to tank anything. And Guru, all he does is tank. Fuel's carries are just getting shredded. These Sivir Qs are doing so much damage. The Sivir bouncing blades are doing just that much more. Zafiri is going to hit that blast cone. It looks like, obviously they want to start Baron, but they don't want to play too risky. They are started up here though now, as they cleared out the vision. They cleared out any potential. The only steal angle, the wind becomes lightning into an E or a flash. Horus has to do. He has to find the miracle play, but he's not even Wing. Baron, he has no idea, but he does not find the smite. It's 42 HP, too little. As Zek's going to clean up Horus, and the rest of Fuel likely to fall in the meantime, as his flank comes around for the Nefiri, the Marisu, and the front line of backline of UBC are tearing through. Realm Warp teleports 3 members of UBC in, as this Rise is doing so much damage in the front line, and UBC march their way into the base of Fuel and take our second game and bring it 1-1 and bring themselves just that step closer to taking this series.
The tower falls, the inhibitor falls, the minions are falling, the defense towers of the Nexus fall. Once that tower is down, they strike the Nexus. The Nexus is a half, it's down to a quarter, it's done, and that now bring us to a final map 3.
Game 3 incoming. Both teams lights out performance on their maps, their games that they're won. Now, one team, which team will find it in their best? Now, Draft will be going back to Fearless. A lot of these picks taken out. But the jungle switch, the jungle mid switch, I mean, also, I want to say, I think, is it, the 57 played fantastically.
UBC Rise was insane.
Was insane. Like, the switch just makes so much more sense. This jungle looks more comfortable. Mid laner looks more comfortable. I'm confused why the lineup was how it was in that first game. But we will take a short break before game 3. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Game 3 draft here. Fuel UBC. Fuel took the first game in dominating fashion. UBC bounced back and fired just as hard. Now, third game, a lot is taken out of the pool, but note the bans are identical.
And I'm now going to be wondering. Now we got Fuel on the blue side, UBC on red side. Like whatever you pick, like this is it. Everyone knows what's at stake. It is one more match, and already we got an Oriana coming out for the side of Fuel.
Who's done? He's picking his comfort characters. He is, he's
He's
been playing them
done.
all night, but he feels like he's playing the best. And you can pick Oriana early, a very strong Prow character. It sets up for a lot of junglers as well. Some of these junglers where you just kind of have to go in with a ball on you, you have value, right? Which is a very strong thing. Now, Fuel took blue side. I think this was their plan all along. UBC taking the Varus away. It's a more of a supportive ADC than this player has been playing so far, right? We've seen double carry ADC here. Now seeing more supportive, more utility, more range. See how much value that ends up happening here as seeing UBC. I'm expecting just a response in the mid lane. That's a Mundo pick. Now that could be top or jungle. I think it's still a flex, but judging by the fact that they banned it last game when top wasn't picked, I'm gonna say it's likely to be top lane there for UBC. See what Fuel ends up responding. Rumble looks pretty good so far, but we'll see. If he wants to stick to a carry, if he wants to go back to those tanks. There's still some that are open, but a lot are taken out of.
And that's the one thing I'm really worried about is that just with everyone who's been taken out, you are either reduced to comfort characters or you got to kind of go out of pocket. And we have an Aatrox and an Ezreal coming out to play for the side of Fuel Esports.
That's Aatrox jungle. So Aatrox jungle just got buffed, but
Oh,
that
okay.
is Aatrox jungle.
Aatrox jungle.
It's not bad, but I don't think it's great. So I'm interested to see how it's going to be piloted. Guru just does not play Aatrox pretty much at all, so I highly doubt that's going top lane. As Horace was saying, he was practicing it a little bit. He does think it's very strong right now. A little bit of a, but we'll see how he pilots it. Zan, back to the Ezreal, right? His classic pick. He's not been having a great series. I cannot lie, right? He had a very rough game 1. Game 2, he was only getting those assists. Now he's on his comfort character. He wants to show that he's, he can have some value in this team, right? He has value. He's been the carry a lot of the time. Rakan is going to be picked by UBC, a very solid engage support there, as well as, good amount of sustain, good amount of shielding. Now, second ban phase, Poppy banned away from by UBC, which is very good as Rakan's a very big counter. Poppy's a good counter Rakan, and HDK plays a lot of Poppy. I mean, HDK here, his Karma is still up, right? Which is, that classic Ezreal Karma lane, unless UBC decides to ban it away. It is going to be banned away as we speak. So Karma's out, Poppy's out. Now you're looking support. You're looking these more classic engaged champs. You also see, maybe it's in game 3, right, of a fearless draft. So comfort kind of comes to play, right? And comfort kind of does, kind of beat everything in the end of the day. So I think I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe a Jack support. Kha'Zix is a very, very interesting pick there. Not a character you see very much anymore. Very
First
good in
time for
solo
me.
queue. It's an assassin, which means I believe this jungler really likes to play assassins. Zax likes to play those assassins for sure. We'll see if it has value, as it's a very snowbally champ. You fall behind, you're gonna be very, very hard to play. Malphite picked, but guys, Silas is open.
They're going with Malphite.
Guys, Silas is open. Unless HDK is picking Silas support, you'll just put themselves in the worst trap in history.
Rel.
Silas is open. Mid lane has not picked.
They walked in Rel, Malphite, Ezreal.
Oh,
Aatrox,
Silas is banned. Wait, they played Silas game 1. Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot it's fearless. My fault.
Oh, yeah, right.
Never mind. Silas not open.
Yeah,
Feels
no, we
fine.
can't even pick
Feels
Silas.
fine. Feels fine. Gwen pick though was very good. Very good into the carry attempts. My fault. My fault, everyone. It's hard to see all of the little bands there. But yeah, that will
they're
be
very tiny.
That will be, Rel picked in for fuel, so a very standard engage comp, right? Oriana, Rel, Malphite. You're gonna wombo combo. You're gonna throw everything at them. Aatrox is gonna follow behind. Your only real sustained damage is gonna be that Ezreal plus, Oriana has a little bit, but you're more bursty. Whereas UBC, you're playing range, right? You're gonna play, Varus will be able to hit from far with those arrows. Mundo's gonna be able to tank up and win side lane pretty confidently into the Malphite. Actually, he's gonna be could be jump. Okay, actually, wait, what is this roll? Okay, I think it's Gwen mid.
Potentially.
I actually am realizing I don't understand who's mid lane, but we'll figure that out as
We'll get there
UBC.
when we get there.
Yeah, but I mean, Mundo's able to side lane quite well. Gwen as well, very strong into a lot of these picks. Malphite very hard for Gwen to deal with. The Kha'Zix is just the biggest question mark for me. I think it's going to be so hard to find value out of a pick like Kha'Zix, who's so feast or famine, right? He needs to get a snowball rolling because he's a full assassin and he really doesn't have much utility outside of, his slow from his evolved W, which has some value. It definitely isn't worthless, but it's not going to have the same level of utility as something, as some of these other junglers you've been seeing, right? Like Xin Zhao has more utility. If Fury has more utility, I'm interested to see how UBC's junglers can be able to pilot that one.
Well, we're going to have to find out as we head to a short break, as we get ready for the final match of Fuel Esports versus UBC.
Don't
Stay
go
tuned.
anywhere.
And here we are, welcome back. It is the final battle, Fuel versus UBC. Fuel took game 1, UBC dominated game 2, and it all comes down to this one final match. Already, simple start just like the last 2 games. Everyone just getting ready, waiting on their positions, waiting for the minions to spawn. We're going to see very minimal action, but apparently someone left the game.
That's fine. We're all good. Pauses already went out. Now you do see 3 members of UBC hovering towards that bot lane. So we'll see maybe something going on, but it seems just to be, they want to get that lane control, which is something they've had every single game so far. And it's been why they've been having such dominant CS leads. Now, Varus Ezreal is a matchup that favors Varus early. So we'll see how much value Marsu can get out of this, as Horus is going to have PTA. He's going to be a Malphite jungle here. It was Malphite jungle Aatrox top instead. I've not seen much of Guru's Aatrox, and I was chatting with Horus, and he said he didn't like Malphite jungle. So, interested to see how this one's going to play out. However, because the Sylas ban was already, or the Sylas play was already invested in game 1 by UBC, it meant it was a fine pick. So, we'll see. It is going to be a bit of a lane swap here, as DE is going to go towards the top lane, as it's going to be Gwen versus Aatrox, because he thought he was playing Mundo versus Malphite. Instead, it's not going to be that matchup. Let's see. Gwen's into Aatrox, Mundo into Orianna. They trading. This is the first time that Guru's had to fight really a heavily trading laner, and a laner that he's for sure set to lose against. We'll see how much value you can find. Piercing Arrow finds its mark on his Zam. It's going to do a little bit of damage. That's just a level 1 bars. You don't always see them take Piercing Arrow. It's a lot more likely you see, you see that E, right? You see that rain. Because it has that bit more value, and that Grievous Wounds really helps out with this trading. Guru might be in trouble here, though, in the top lane. It's fully stacked Conqueror.
Oh!
They snip, come out from DE 57. They do a lot of damage, and Guru already sent back.
Taking just a little bit off the top there, they managed to absolutely snip out Guru and push them back. The bot lane, there's a little bit more engagement there. They're just taking out the minion waves. Boo is holding that mid lane. Guru, again, holding their horse in the jungle. It's quite simple. And then overall, it's just absolutely just like the last 2 games. A light early game, these simple light skirmishes. We might not see a first blood. Another mark, though, the piercing arrow, but HGK gets the stun out. They do tag a little bit, but they just got to fall back.
Yeah, Zan firing back, as well as HGK with a good shattering strike there to, get that CC, get that, a little bit of value out just to make sure that his team, Zan's able to trade back. He's not in too much danger. Guru, again, going to be in trouble here. Boo, going to be trying. It's a weird mid lane. You don't really ever play Orianna versus Mundo, so I'm not gonna say. I don't think either of these players are really practiced in this lane, especially considering Knuckles is in fact a top laner, so the short lane might be a bit of an interesting thing here. See how that ends up working out. Another Varus arrow comes in and it finds Zan. We're 3 for 3 as we've seen. Now, both junglers ended up pathing opposite sides, so both are gonna get in a Scuttle Crab. Now, Kha'Zix is going to have a little bit more value level 1. He's just going to dive in, and he's just going to try to finish off Guru. Good Vorpal Spike to finish it off, to follow the flash of Guru. Well played there by Kha'Zix, by Zax. And honestly, the big part of that from Zax is just how fast they played it, really. There was 0 time for, Guru to even think he was getting dove. There was already a Kha'Zix leaping over, throwing that Q, stabbing him in the heart.
Yeah, Zex just jumped in, asked for his car's extended warranty, and then left.
Exactly. That did burn the flash to that extra bit of damage, but the snowball is already starting to build for Zex here. Is what they need, what UBC is looking for, right? Your Kha'Zix is the biggest question mark, because it just has to snowball into the game. Bombing Cinder's completed for Horus, so his clear's going to be that bit faster, but he's going to delay his first item just that little bit.
And then, with these item builds, I'm wondering what the plan is going to be. Are they going to go for defense? Are they going to go for high damage? Are they going to go for any forms of resistance? It's really hard to tell in this early game, because once this first set of abilities start going and the first set of items being built, you got to start wondering, are you going to go for more of an attack-oriented playstyle or a defense-oriented playstyle?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely how each team wants to play is weird, right? Fuel wants to just kind of dive in, whereas UBC, their comp plays it plays a very interesting game because it wants to dive in, but it dives in worse than Fuel's comp does. Now, if they can survive the initial burst of Fuel's comp, they really don't have to sustain damage. And Marisu has the highest range out of anyone really in this game. I mean, Varus can be definitely a problem. Ezreal can kind of match, but Varus will have a bit more. Zek's going to start up the Drake. Kha'Zix does Drake extremely fast, but this is Ocean Drake, which means look how slow each person that gets tagged by the autos are. Such an annoyance in the jungle to deal with this, as Horus and Boo are just going to pick off Neckles alongside HGK, and now the Drake's likely just going to go the way of Fuel. A good play there from Horus and Boo. Now, Lindo ended up using ultimate in the meantime. Now, really used ultimate to try to survive, but it didn't matter as he did fall. He's just not tanky yet, right? You only have that health. You're doing health costs every time you use an ability. You start to miss too many cleavers, you're really going to lose your health. Horus collects that first dragon. The Ocean Drake means his laning is going to be that little bit easier. Guru especially will be able to get that healing up from this Ocean Drake, which is nice because he's kind of struggling in lane. Back here, uses that beat and tries to get there with the Void Assault. Tries to get there in time, but it doesn't matter. CE with a flash Q, the snip finds Guru, and Guru is just in such a big problem. Flash R, however, were used. He does not have TP, and no one's going to be there to catch this wave. So this Gwen is just going to start to snowball more and more and more and more and more. 20 CS lead now for this Gwen of D57. Really, I just want to know, why was this player ever on jungle?
I don't know, but so far they've managed to get casualties on the receiving end of those scissors. Just snip, 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 and they're dead.
Exactly.
Whatever plan is working, it works. You know, like Guru's obviously asking for a little bit off the top, and Gwen delivers.
Yeah, but he got a little bit too much for sure, right? He got more than he bargained for, more than he wished, you know? Many a barber experiences, you know, you don't always get what you come for, right? You sometimes leave not being your best. But Guru is going to end up falling victim to that exactly, as objectives are not going to be up yet. Grub's coming up in about a minute here, though, so Fuel, they want to play towards, and you can see how they're moving, right? They do have this Malphite ult, they have Ori ult, they have their burst combo. But importantly, Rel is still level 5, so is Rakan, but as far as comps are concerned, Fuel's Rel really needs this ultimate to be able to continue this engage. She got a secondary follow-up on Horus's initial, unstoppable force. So we'll see, as it is going to be a level 6 Rakan, not level 6 on the Rel. A very big deal. HDK needs to find some EXP somewhere, or else this fight is just going to go the way of UBC based off the support levels.
And Horus is managing to come in for an assist. Zan is also waiting. We might see a pincer at the Grubs to establish probably the first series of maybe a team skirmish to a fight. But it seems so far they're just waiting to find that chance to dive in.
Yeah, waiting, finding their chance. They're looking for it, but the wave's going to get pushed out yet again in top lane. The jungle and the AD carry are going to meet up, as Horus and HDK, they found 2 Grubs. Can they get the third and get out is the question. Doesn't look like it. He does find the fight, so it will be that. Now the fight is here. The Trouble Force only finds 1, and the late fight looks like it's just going to be the favor of UBC, as this Varus is untouched. Batasi found that quickness, found so much value out of it. Piercing Arrow finds another, as Zex yet again finds the lead. They needed a flash auto from Marisu. Will end Zan's hopes there. 3-0-3 lead for this Kha'Zix. The biggest question mark is now the biggest thorn in Fuel's side. It's so hard to deal with such a fed Kha'Zix, as well. And your Varus, who's going the on-hit build, which means he'll be able to shred through these health bars, these tanks of Fuel. He is also 2-0-2. Fuel, they're falling behind the CS on every single lane, except for mid lane. But even, do you really want that?
I don't think it's something Fuel wants. They have lost a lot of the fights so far, but they did manage to secure the Dragon and the Grubs. But the problem is, you're gaining objectives, but you gotta win the fights. It's that secondary part. They got the first half, they gotta get that second.
Yeah, first half was collected, right? There was to get the objective. The fight just doesn't go the way they need it to, which is unfortunate here. Fuel, they're not out of it yet. There's a 3K gold lead for UBC, and it does feel dire. It feels like Fuel, they're losing their footing. On the plus side, who has about want to say about 500, 600 gold lead in mid lane. Bot lane is going to fall yet again to Zex, who is just tearing this map apart. And I want to highlight, why was Zex on mid lane and why was D on jungle? When these two are clearly better suited for the opposite role. Zex, clearly the jungle here for UBC, and D57 has been insane in these solo lanes. Completely lights out. Gwen is going to be such a problem for Fuel. You know, this Kha'Zix can find the squishy members, but the front line is really going to be the task of this Varus and this Gwen, and both are already accelerated. The only player that isn't accelerated is your Mundo, who just needs health. This game just keeps getting worse and worse for Fuel as UBC just keep the pressure up. The foot has not left the gas for 3K gold lead.
I'm seriously trying to figure out the strategy, because right now, like, taking out priority targets, Fuel needs to take out Zex. Zex is priority target #1 as the main threat. They gotta follow through and remove that Gwen, and then just pray that the rest of UBC's health pool starts to lose in those fights. But Zex and Gwen are the priority #1.
I think as far as team fights go, actually, I think you have to look towards his Varus. No flash Varus, and he's gonna be in that melee range because of the comp he's playing. Now, Fuel, the big thing with their comp is they just have the go button, right? They have Malphite ult, they have Rel ult, they have, Orianna ult, but it's going to be a problem if Lose already finds a quickness. Horus survives it, and that's just a wasted ult out of nowhere for UBC, a very bit of an overextension. But because the TP for DE came in, means Fuel may just have to concede the Drake anyway. They did get the first, but it looks like they want to fight. They're posturing for some sort of play. The Drake is pretty much gone before anything can happen. Well, Horus looks to try to win the smite fight. He's just going to fight Zex off. And now he doesn't have the burst with the smite. He's going to lose it. But Zex is also going to survive it. In the meantime, the entire team of Fuel have fallen victim to D57 Marisu, who are doing so much damage. And the Mundo, who once wasn't accelerated, just got a double kill into their pockets. As now this tower dive is going to come in. Guru in trouble. What can he do as an Aatrox in this type of game? Just don't have any targets. You can look for Neckles, but it won't be enough as Fuel may have fallen dangerously behind. It's the biggest gold deficit we've seen tonight. 5K gold lead for UBC, and objective bounties aren't even possible yet. So there's no hope for those bounties.
With a 10-2 kill lead for the side of UBC, it's absolutely maddening. We do see an attack here by HTK. They managed to take Clara Marisu, but do they get it? No, they don't. They managed to survive, and now Zex and two others managed to just try to squeeze out HTK, but they don't. He manages to escape with barely any health to his name, and it just seems that UBC has secured this front line, and now Fuel has been put on the back foot heavily.
I mean, Fuel have been on the back foot pretty much this entire game, right? Since that first tower dive came out for Zex, it feels like they haven't found the answer. They haven't found any sort of footing. Guru is going to trade into the Gwen, but that hollowed mist is going to come out and make it so no more follow-up. They tried to burst down Marisu, but Zex and Protasi are there. This Rakan has been everywhere on the map so far, as well as this Kha'Zix, and they're both a tag team duo of doom for Fuel. Now, Boo can't even match into this Mundo. Mundo's just gonna, survive anything he tries to throw at him. Boo going for the survivability build. He's building Seraphs, but I don't know if he has enough time. I don't know if he has the damage to do so. As Horus finishes up his Sunfire, he has another piece of armor. His inventory is good, but this Gwen is just gonna be a complete problem for him. He has no resistances on the side of MR. The only damage he has is in his W. Now, they're just so far behind. Gwen is almost at 2 items. Guru has not been able to finish even one. 2 items on the jungler. Item and a half versus almost a full item there for Zan. Every laner except for mid, yet again, is just so far behind.
So if you're Fuel right now, what would the comms be? Like, is there any viable strategy that Fuel can do right now to try and gain some form of traction?
Yes, they just actually did it. They burned Forest Flash in mid lane. Now Horus needs to click that direction when his ultimate is up next. But he doesn't have it as in the top lane. You see the Kha'Zix fighting in, and he just one-shots the Orianna. Boo, unable to side lane against this team. As a DC comes in from Potasi yet again.
The game's been paused.
Been paused as a DC from the UBC support. The second one so far this game, but it is complete and utter domination. As objective bounties are now available, Fuel has them. We're back into the game. As Fuel's untouched in this side lane. Guru falling dangerously behind as these item completions are going to start to come in for UBC more and more and more. Fuel, they're just nowhere closer to finding their own as League of Legends spectator bug.
We are now frozen with a clash on everyone attacking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Herald. And absolute relaxing. We're back. Dr. Mundo just smacking Guru in the back, going for the attack. UBC manages to take out the Rift Herald, now having the Rift Herald in their pocket, completely uncontested. It's continuing to be a 12-2 kill lead, a very, very heavy lead for the side of UBC. A turret does fall courtesy of Gwen as that top lane advances. It seems there is no stopping.
Tier 2 turret at 15 minutes. Fuel
Yeah.
are on death's door already, as you know the damage is coming in for the side of UBC. They're doing so well in this third game. The macro has been insane. Their fighting is beautiful. And Fuel, the only answer you have, keep your eye on Horus ultimate, right? He has this Malphite ult coming up soon, and there is a flashless Varus. If Fuel does not throw 5 people at this Varus, they are doing something wrong. Because you're this far behind, what you have to start doing is making coin flip plays. Making the dumbest plays you can think of, because it doesn't matter. They're down 10k gold at 16 minutes.
At this point, just go for it. Just start attacking. Throw caution to the wind and go in. Hey, if you kill Zex, you already have a higher advantage already. You take out Gwen, even better. You take out the rest of them, perfect.
The Varus, though, against main targets just doesn't have flash, right? He is the easiest one to get on as a team. As the Kha'Zix is a little too slippery, the Gwen is a little too tanky. The Potasi has a good flank here in Fuel. They're not aware. They don't have the vision control because they haven't had any pushing waves. The Herald gets placed in mid lane, and it's going to be a mid lane brawl.
Here
But again,
we go.
this Rakan has such a good angle. He does not find anything, though, as the Arcane Shift comes in. Herald is driven. Harasu falls exactly what Fuel needed to do. But can they find anything outside of this? Like Horus is likely to be the next to fall. Zex survive as Potasi goes in, finds that double
HDK
knock
goes
up.
in.
But instead, Fuel, they found their answer because that's what they have to do, right? They make these random coin flip plays. What you have to do there is it's all on Varus.
Yeah, but look at
Varus-
Gwen. Look at Gwen in
is
the bot.
ending the game. We ignore that part, Fuel, they can't afford to look at the Gwen ending the game. They have to keep pushing. But here, they're going to see a TP back, but Guru can't do anything about this. 57 can take this in front of Guru's face and then kill Guru after.
Gwen doesn't care.
Oh, it is actually a joke because he missed this crucial ability, but never mind. Gwen heals a lot. Yeah, this character's really fair.
And then he cut down
Lives.
Zed.
Very, very balanced character there is Gwen. D57
Absolute
piloting it
cinema.
very well. Missed the third needlework, and it didn't even matter because of how much sustain and how ahead this Gwen is so far in this game. Fuel, they thought they found the answer. They found that shutdown on to the Varus. But what does it matter if the rest of the fight goes the way it does, right? You do win overall because Kha'Zix fell as well because he overextended. But Gwen basically ended the game, basically took an inhib bot lane, took the inhib turret. Marisu now going to be able to push down this mid lane, break this turret. The Drake falls, which means now Fuel, they're one step closer, falling. But I don't feel like Soul may even be needed in this type of game. Fuel, their timer is not going to be on this Varus because he has flashback up. Horus does not have his ultimate. The timer has to be on Zex. Makes an overextension. Potasi's going to overextend. A 1-for-1 for the supports is traded out as Zex is low here, hitting that Scuttle Crab. And now Fuel, they should be able to capitalize on this in some way, but they just don't pull the trigger early enough. Zex can be able to heal up off these camps and get away safely. It is a 1-for-1, which, see, at this point, I'd say favors Fuel because, any trade is a good trade. It means that UBC can't kind of just walk into your base and end the game at 20 minutes, but they're still in trouble. I mean, this game is falling.
Otacon hasn't even spawned in yet.
No,
and
yeah,
tier
yeah,
2
no,
totowers
yeah,
have been taken down.
Tier 3 turret has been taken.
Oh yeah,
Otacon
tier
is not
3.
spawned.
I forgot. Yeah, tier
Yeah.
3's been taken
And
down.
Otacon is not spawned, yeah. No, this game is a complete and utter domination. Now, the gold lead has stagnated just that little bit. It has not grown from 10K. What does it need to grow from 10K?
I don't know. I have no words.
I'm going to say I don't think it does. Now, Boo has 2.5 items. He is the player to watch. These items are starting to come in. Zan's not going to be there at that Muramana, but you have a 2-item, 2-item Malphite. You have a 2-item Orianna. But the Orianna's items just do not, inspire faith when you look at the fact that the Gwen almost has a fully completed Death Cap 3rd item. And now they're getting walked at. Neckles, notice he finds a 4-man engage. A beautiful quickness as Marasu and the Gwen has joined the fray. And Fuel, I mean, a 5v5 is never going to go your way. But that wasn't a 5v5, that was a 5v4. A beautiful shockwave from Boo to try to salvage any sort of anything out of this. But he just doesn't have the damage. The health bars of UBC are still there. And E57 is just going to keep marching forward. Why would we stop if we still have everything available and we have the health to do so? Boo just has to respect the entire game as
it's a 4 casualty loss for Fuel and not a single loss for the side of UBC. And as we reach the 21-minute mark, this entire battle seems solely in UBC's favor.
it feels like Fuel needs more than a miracle to win this one. But we'll see as heading into this next objective is going to be the strike in 2 minutes, but I think you're more if all tier 2 turrets have fallen for the side of Fuel. You do not have a single tier 2 turret, and you have only your tier 3s are low. I mean, they have not been able to even break a tier 1
Yeah,
for
not even
Fuel.
a tier
I
ones.
doubt there's much damage on them in general. Maybe mid has some damage as Boo had some push, as he's the only one really still in this. Now, there are about Gwen is almost at 10 CS per minute, and then Boo and Marisu are going to be somewhat close behind. But Gwen CSing beautifully, getting these kills, getting these side lanes. I mean, I would argue 5,000 gold is probably just in that Gwen alone.
I'd be inclined to agree with you, given that lone Gwen managed not only to clear the top and bottom lane, but multiple times infiltrate Fuel's backline.
Oh, it's worse. It's 6K.
Oh.
Oh boy, that is double.
Okay.
That's and then it's a 5K in the jungle. Mid's even. Bot's 3K. Support is actually HTK is ahead in support, so we have a winner somewhere. But E57's getting 4-man. Now, does this stop the Gwen is the question.
It doesn't look like it.
It does. It will stop the Gwen.
There we go.
The Gwen missed. Horus is going to collect the shutdown. Not who you want that to go to. Their Fuel, as that's not your carry, right? In the meantime, Zex just kills Guru, and the tier 3 turrets are falling. Fuel, you pick off the Gwen, but the rest of the team is equally as fed. You can't just alleviate, you can't just leave every lane alone, as triple inhib is likely to come in. It's going to be guaranteed double inhib here, but the triple. Instead, Zex actually wants to delay the inhib. They don't want to give it as, they don't think they can end on this timer, but the inhib is going to go over. It doesn't matter as Cool. Is there much we can really say at this point? You want to count that gold lead for me?
Oh, I'm so bad at math. 14,000 gold lead.
23 minutes. This game is the biggest stomp I've seen in a while. I cannot lie. UBC, it felt like they were playing. They were playing around game one. They make the roster swap, and it looks completely unstoppable. It looks like Fuel has no answer for this. No player has found their footing. Boo is still in a good spot, but what can an Orianna do against a Gwen, a Kazik, a Mundo, and all these characters that are just as fed as they are on UBC? The fact that a single lead exists doesn't matter when the gold is just domination side of. We may have a pause on our hands as
Another one.
UBC. See, as I mean, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but we will hopefully be able to fix this. But I'm gonna be honest. I think even if we don't catch the end of this game, I think we all kind of know how this one's going to end. Unfortunately,
I I have no words. I'm speechless. I got nothing. What I do know is that UBC is absolutely dominating right now, and Fuel is there's something there.
There
But
is something there
it's-
indeed. Now
it's
it feels
something.
like we may have run into a riot bug here.
Oh.
As everyone's favorite riot bugs go. Now, this one kind of happens whenever a pause happens in a game. It can kind of just randomly decide to break your stream. See if we can maybe try to get this sorted out. But meantime, I mean, yeah. I just want to keep talking about the teams.
What's there to say? We have UBC with the MVP of them being Zax, obviously absolutely shredding. Then you have follow through with DE57 on that Gwen, who on their own managed to shred the entire backline of Fuel to the point where they got into their headquarters and shredded their towers, and then the rest of UBC followed through. They tried to do something with team fights, but they overextended and then just absolutely get shredded. They try to get certain kills, like they managed to take out Zex a couple times as well as the other high value targets, but it still doesn't end up being enough because UBC has too much damage output for Fuel to really defend against.
That you find one, but in the meantime, you can find that pick. But what happens if on the other side of the game, the enemy team is just ending, right? Or not seem to have solved. Has gotta love Riot games. We
I
all
like
love.
that pose for Mundo though.
We all
Just-
love Riot games, right? We all love Riot
yeah.
games.
A small
Every
indie
single
company.
fun little bug they got going on, especially on their spectator client. So hopefully,
It's
but
it's
I think,
beautiful.
I mean, yeah, it's you can't really do anything when you find one, 4 people in the game. You try to pick one off, 4 people kill you.
yeah,
Cool.
that's just what
May
happens.
Be heading back in, but no, it seems to be same pause here and there, and it looks like, unfortunately, I think Riot has won this battle. But
Oh,
again, I'm
Riot's
gonna
won.
say I don't think anything would change. So we'll be seeing what the deal is. I feel like this game might have just ended on its own.
Do you think Riot just probably was seeing what was going? It's like it's already dead. Stop! They're already dead, and just decided to ring the bell.
I think their game finished, but unfortunately ours does not seem to be able to, as this riot bug is not going to be able to be solved. So unfortunately, we'll be having to cut that third game short. But UBC will take this series 2-1 in a victory and in a dominating fashion on that game 3.
I'm speechless. It's disappointing that we didn't get to see the ultimate UBC actually claiming that victory, but still it was that was a great series. Fuel
Fantastic
came out
series,
strong
yeah.
and Fuel came out extremely strong in game 1, absolutely dominating, and then something happened on UBC's end that in game 2 they managed to use that composition to bring it back, and then in map 3 their absolute domination just put Fuel in a position where there was nothing they could do. There was nothing.
The roster swap. The roster swap really changed the tides of momentum here for UBC. Once those, initial comfort characters are out for Fuel, right? You don't have your Victor. You don't have your Shogath. It just felt like they didn't have the answer. They didn't know what to do outside of that. But we'll see if one of our Fuel members is willing to give an interview after a tough loss. Not go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined by Boo, the captain of the League of Legends team, after a somber loss. But we do have good news. If we look at our our bracket, we qualify for playoffs.
Yippee!
Which means the Fuel League team will still have some chances to make some, maybe find a comeback, get their bounce back against UBC potentially, as it felt doable. Right, first game, domination. But I want to know what do you think that their roles changes really ended up playing a role in why they ended up winning, or do you think it was just more so your team doing it, like your team situation?
I think we made a lot more mistakes than like them swapping won them the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it makes it a little bit harder to draft because we don't really know who's going where until like the draft is finished. So that's kind of a little bit of a confusing thing. But I think for the most part, honestly, I don't think we've won a game one, right? Have we gone to game three yet? Anyways, I don't know if we've gone to game three before, and so I think it really showed our weakness when it comes to Fearless.
I'm just overall, like, I was speechless overall, like, with how everything went, because it just seems like, especially in that map 2, in game 2 map 2, a lot of the issues that were happening was your objectives were getting stolen left, right, and center, figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
It
Yeah,
is what
Smite.
it
Hey,
is.
Smites.
Yeah. It's
Smites
hard.
go the way
Yeah.
of the cards. The
Yeah.
cards don't always fall to your hand.
But just could have there been something done to kind of prevent that, like more of like boxing in, preventing them from getting in range, or was it just more of like a response time?
Obviously, I don't want to flame him for just like missing the smite. Like it's a 50-50. Like people lose that.
Yeah,
That's
things
fine.
happen.
We probably could have gotten maybe more vision just to know like where their jungler is, and I don't know. I think even if we lose the smite fight itself, we were losing the fight around it. Like we were just dying to them. So even if we won the dragon, we still got aced right after. So it's like
It was like you
it's
claim the
just a losing
objective, but you
situation.
lose your whole team. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you take?
Yeah, so it's like, I think just setting the objective up better, and then we can actually fight and take the objective at the same time, rather than kind of just hit the objective and then we're just kind of like sitting ducks.
Yeah, and I think one last question. What do you think? Obviously you said pretty much your first game 3, right? You guys have not had the most success this season for sure. What do you think you can take away from this game specifically to help yourself further in this bracket, in these playoffs coming up? Is there any like really big takeaway you think that lost you this season?
Lost us the series?
Or just big takeaway in general.
I don't know if I think we've had the same problems that we've had like throughout the year, but I think our game 1 showed that we actually can win a game. Like we can compete, so that's pretty good. I think our communication and macro was pretty good. Like I think was it game 2? I think we had bot lane go top, and then we had our Aatrox like go bot, and we did like a lane swap before the objective. And even if it like didn't work out, I think us actually making that play and communicating it together is like a step in the right direction.
Thank you very much for joining us, Boo. Of course, unfortunate loss, but not the last we'll see of you potentially, as we take a look at our schedule for the rest of this week, going into next week as well. Tomorrow we'll be having some CEN action with all of our Fuel Esports Rocket League rosters playing against teams, and then Saturday and Sunday it's gonna be CEN finals. The CEN playoffs. We'll see what teams make it as far as possible, and seeing what we'll be streaming. Stay tuned to make sure you know what's being streamed. Make sure you follow our socials, Fanshawe Fuel everywhere. Keep up to date with all of our streams, all of our socials, knowing what every single team's going up with, especially as we're gonna be heading, ending up this semester. New teams gonna be dropping soon, so make sure you are focused and locked in for Fuel. With that, I've been Newt.
I've been Dragon.
I'm Boo.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.